Okay, got everybody back. I'm muted. Hey, okay, so we got everybody
Hey,
back.
I don't know if Eric came back.
Well, let's endeavor to persevere. Um, and let's talk about the Circle of Flame. So, yeah, we talked about the Circle of Flame a little bit. They are a refined secret society of antiquarians and scholars. But that's all a cover for extortion, graft, vice, and murder. Their HQ is the Centralia Club in Six Towers, which is where we'll be spending most of our time, I think. Um, so, Six Towers itself. Um, that's the wrong thing. Okay. Six Towers itself is the formerly prestigious district that has faded over the centuries into a pale shadow of what it once was. The eponymous Six Towers were originally the grand residence of Doskval's first noble families. All but two, Balmore House and Rowan House, have been sold off and converted into cheap apartments or fallen into ruin and abandon. The district has an empty, haunted feel, with many sprawling old buildings dark without power. Broad stone streets cracked and buckled, and the fires of squatters crackling in the overgrown lots. So, used to be a happening place, and has fallen into squalor. That's sort of how the Circle of Flame gets on right now, right? They have a club that deals in strange shit. They have many private areas, basement rooms that you can't get to without exclusive passes, and those passes are usually bought by providing them something, by bringing arcane things or making trades with them of that kind. They are incredibly wealthy. They get away with a lot of stuff because there's just not a heavy police presence in Six Towers. It's empty most of the time. Let's look at yeah, and there's a lot of strange things that happen: ghost sightings, legends about ghosts, stories about ghosts, all that kind of stuff. And if we look at their faction sheet, their claims, they have weird stuff. They have an offertory. If you do occult things, operations, you get extra coin. They have strange altars beneath their estate. They have a vice den beneath the Centralia Club. You can only get in if you offer arcane artifacts. And they have a little bit of turf claim in Mist Shore Park. So let me bring you over to Six Towers. We don't need the main map right now. There's all these different areas. They're numbered. There's a little key below if you ever want to know about that. But Mist Shore Park. It's a dark and overgrown space overlooks the eastern branch of the River Dosk and the Deathlands beyond. In old folk ballads, young lovers who could not be together would commit suicide in this park. Whatever the truth of it, the park is certainly haunted now. It's known as a place for ghosts. And yeah, most of the real money has left this place, but those with fancy tastes or odd tastes will wander into Six Towers, head to Centralia, and get mixed up in that kind of thing. They are highly secure, even from arcane means. So, even a sorcerer or a whisperer trying to sneak in with magic, or a ghost seeping through the cracks, they have defenses against those things. And they have occultists there, adepts. You have access to these guys as a cohort, right? You can use them for stuff. Adepts are mostly good at doing spooky shit. They are they high quality? No, they're not. They're not elite. They are loyal and tenacious, which means they stick to the cult. They are tight-lipped. They don't let things slip. And if somebody does cause problems, they come after them hard. But they are principled and savage. Whatever their cult is, the cult of Kotar, this strange being, this strange god they worship, they are more devoted to the principles of Kotar and things like that. And like I said, when you screw the cult, right, they come after you hard. They're savage. They tear people apart. They will bleed you. They will offer you to Kotar on a altar in order to appease their god. They are not nice people. They have a private security force that is elite. They are thugs. They are independent, so they're privately hired from somewhere or someplace else. But they're principled also. Not that they follow the cult of Kotar, but the private security, they're professionals. They're not going to do weird cult shit. They keep the club secure, and they don't get involved in the stuff below. So every gang has a hunting ground. A special thing you can do to do scores, right? Mostly they help you gin up money or information. And theirs is beneath the club, is a smuggling fence. People bring arcane items, right? Or they need an arcane item moved somewhere, something they're not supposed to have, and they can help smuggle it through. They're a fence for that kind of stuff. Or they'll buy your arcane items that you're not supposed to have. And that is beneath the club that you can only get through by paying. Also with the same thing as the Vice did. And they have a big vault. Lots of money. Not that you guys are going to have access to all that money to start. But they are a tier 3 gang. They're pretty high tier. What you are going to have to start with are 2 coin. There are 2 coin in the vault for you to use for any expenses. Obviously, you can do things to build up more coin, right? As you do your missions and things. But at the outset, they're offering you 2 coins to just use for whatever you need. Now let's talk about their goal. I was toying around with some different clocks. The main goal, and if you go to the character mode, it's the only part of the character sheet that I'm using for the factions. And it's just at the bottom where their clocks are. Tells you what their main goal is. What they want is to acquire the ancient artifacts of Kotar. Some weird sorcerer or godlike being or something is what they need. Those things are found in the Lost District. The Lost District is a former part of the Dusk. It used to be inside the lightning barrier, but it isn't anymore. It was lost, right? Now it's outside the barrier. It's in the Deathlands. If you thought Mistshore Park was haunted, the Deathlands are explicitly haunted, right? There's a lightning barrier around the city. It keeps all spirits out. They can't pass through it. It's not perfect, right? There's slip-throughs sometimes. There are beings that can force their way through every now and then, but for the most part, that's what keeps the ghosts out. In the Deathlands, it's the Wild West. But that's where those artifacts are. The main reason you're here with the Cult of Flame is to help them get into the Lost District and recover some artifacts. We're not trying to do the whole thing in once. And it's going to take us several steps to get to any one of those points. But that's kind of where we want to start. I want to just jump into a score and get after doing something. So, and you don't have to follow the goal every score, right? You can be like, we need some more money, so let's do something to get money, right? And you can do something entirely unrelated to resurrecting their strange god. But I'm going to turn it over to you guys to figure out what kind of score you want to do. If you're thinking about something, generally there are 6 types of scores. There is assault. You do violence to a target. There is deception, where you lie, trick, or manipulate somebody. There's stealth, where you trespass unseen. Occult, where you do supernatural things. Social, where you bargain or persuade. And transport, where you move cargo from one place to another. They have enemies all their own in their factions list. You can see people they're friends and enemies with. And just like you guys, they have contacts. And we can talk about who their contacts are. And right now, I've just got one contact. They have one key contact.
Oh, shut up. Okay.
Fella named Corbin Gray. And he is a member of a faction called the Foundation.
God damn it.
The Foundation, they're a tier 4 faction. They are an old faction. A powerful ancient order of architects and builders. Many of their enemies have disappeared beneath the brick and mortar of Doskval. So Doskval is a city that's many hundreds of years old. And it can't expand, right, because of the lightning barrier and ghosts. So it's built on top of itself over and over again. There are catacombs, endless passageways beneath the city of ruined buildings and entirely lost sections of the city. These are the people who run that, right? Corbin Gray, he is a leadership among the Foundation, and he is a foreman in Coleridge, where they do trading. Coleridge is there's a lot of trade that goes through there, and he's kind of the guy who buys their supplies, their bricks, their, what they need to do the job. He's like the buying and selling guy for the Foundation. They have other friends. We can add more contacts, but yeah, what are you guys thinking of to start?
Alright, so we need weapons, allies, and money. My first idea is that we can eventually build up to the point that we can try to reactivate what it used to be the electric fence that surrounded the Lost District. And we do know the ancient architects and all that, so we should have the ability to do that if we try to build on that.
To do that?
It's a clock. Everything's possible with a clock.
It would be many, many clocks. Building an electroplasmic barrier, you not only need a great deal of supplies to build new barriers, you also need it to be an official city thing, a project.
Well, there's always the old barrier, because the Lost District used to have its own barrier.
Yeah, that barrier does not exist anymore. It's not there to be fueled. You'd have to build a whole new one. You'd also need an incredible amount of electroplasm to power it. I'm not saying no. I'm saying that's a huge goal, right? That's a big thing. That's influencing the infrastructure of an imperial city to undertake something.
Yeah, let's tackle the bureaucracy of Duskfall.
Now, just to say, that is a crazy big goal, right? we would not do that in this contract. You could move in that direction. It's not like a fucking horrible idea.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It's just weighty. The main problem with going into the Lost District is since it's run by spirits, they don't want people going there. The Empire. They just want people to stay out. The Spirit Wardens. These are the people who collect bodies and burn them to make sure that they don't turn into ghosts. When somebody dies in Duskfall, there are magical bells that ring out. And crows come from these bell towers and find the dead body so the Spirit Wardens can collect it and burn it with electroplasm to prevent it becoming a ghost. So they're kind of the people in charge of that shit. So if you're trying to sneak into that place, those are the main guys in the way. If you rebuild that place, that takes away the Spirit Wardens, but it also becomes an Imperial project, and they probably just claim all that shit anyway, right? Anything in the city that they can just get, well, that's ours now, right? That would be the other problem with doing that massive thing. But it's not impossible. It's something you could do. You could start making contacts.
Yeah. So... something on a smaller scale. So Jean fears not ghosts, but I know that you guys probably do. Rather than rebuilding an entire barrier, maybe we find a way to like get ourselves some special suits, like some sort of electroplasmic suit.
Kind of like how the Railjacks.
Kind of like how the Railjacks do, yeah. So just like if they know, if this group that we're working for knows Corbin Gray and they have these catacombs, I'm sure we can get into that place no problem. Well, with minimal problem. It's and like the Spirit Wardens, whatever. Like they're a problem, but fine. The ghosts are the problem. So yeah.
All right.
That would be my idea.
So we need to build up an arsenal against ghosts, and we need to improve relationships with these architects. Crap, I forgot the name. So we can either do a mission to go help out these foundation, was it?
The Foundation.
Yeah, if we help up the Foundation, then we can up our standing with them. I mean, the other point to put is that the Circle of Flames actually has a positive relationship with the City Council. So a citywide thing could also still work, but
it's true.
It's so much more feasible to do the smaller scale one, but
yeah. Yeah. And I did misspeak a little bit about the Lost District. It never did have a lightning barrier around it.
Okay.
But I mean, you would still be at the same square you are to building that. I mean, you have inns at the City Council, right? You could have them start pulling strings. It's still not unfeasible. It is large. I just want to make that clear up front so that you're like, everything's a 12-section clock, Justin, this is bullshit. And I'm like, I just want to make that clear up front. Like, that's a big undertaking. It takes a lot of money and people. It's not like the three of you are going to go out there and like hammer some shit in the ground and be like... The lightning barriers are the size of like towers, right? They are huge buildings in their own right, and it would require the Foundation, the Spark Rights who manage the towers, right? It would require probably Ironhook Prison because they have a quarry where you get stone, and the Spirit Wardens, right? You'd have to get them on board with it and be like, yeah, it's okay for everybody to build that. The Imperial Army. To be like, yeah, let's wade through there every week and just murder the fuck out of ghosts so that we can work on building the thing. Like, it's a big deal. But getting suits, also a thing, right? The Railjacks totally have special suits that protect them from ghosts and a bunch of gear for killing ghosts. So getting in good with the Railjacks or getting some of their gear, also possible.
Yeah. What do you think, Rama?
I mean, I like the suits idea better, because the other one would take a whole campaign.
I like it better too. But...
Also, Eric, like if maybe for a future adventure, like I'd be down to try to like tackle bureaucracy and get the barrier up. I want to expand this unexpandable city.
And you can do one as you're like, this is our contract thing for just this session of this section of the contract, these few sessions. But start building the foundation if you'd like, for doing the other thing also. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna do lots of scores, so.
Yeah, but we're criminals.
I mean, so's the city council.
I'm a fashion model. I don't know what you're talking about.
You fashion model.
So getting suits. I mean, I think going to the Railjacks directly is possible. I think going through the council somehow is possible. People are going to ask you favors no matter what you do. It's just the kind of favors they're going to ask you. Yeah, you don't have enough money for crazy electroplasmic power suits.
Yeah. So we need to have improve relations with the Foundation to get passes through this under tunnels to get to the area, and we need to improve relations with the Railjacks. The problem is the Railjacks are probably going to throw us against something that we are not prepared to deal with.
Under tunnels. So we're going off the premise that there are tunnels that go beneath the river.
Oh yeah. These dudes have been building up and bricking things for hundreds of years. They know all the tunnels.
That's not a terrible point.
Yeah.
The important point we're making, though, and I do like this idea. I'm not saying like, no, stupid. I'm saying awesome. But here is 6 towers, roughly. Right? Here is the Lost District. It's number 2. So
Yeah, that would be
there is totally a river in the way, right? But if you're saying that there's an under river tunnel, that might be a secret nobody knows. And getting access to that could be a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you guys want to do first? I guess underwater tunnel, awesome, want it. We need to do both, I guess. Yeah, we definitely need. Well, yeah, we need a way there, and we need a way to protect ourselves. So, what do you want to tackle first?
I think tunnel first. Sounds.
Yeah, we're in good standings with them.
Yeah.
Anything that the Railjacks would need our help with is something that we're probably not prepared to do because the Railjacks are well equipped to deal with anything.
Yeah, we can go through the council, though, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah. So that sounds. I mean, it's always up to you guys, but it sounds like a social plan to bargain and persuade, negotiate with the Foundation. And we want to go with Corbin Gray, the actual contact.
He's our dude.
Yep.
All right. He's got a mace and a crossbow. I'm just kidding.
Kills children sometimes. It's sad.
I also.
Hey,
have-
to be perfectly fucking fair, they were super magical children who tried to kill him first and almost did.
Mm-hmm.
I also.
No, that's fair. No, that is fair. That is fair. But he did feel bad about it.
He did feel bad about it. He felt very bad about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing we need to do, just so I don't forget, because I always fucking forget, we need to mark our load.
All right. It's a social plan, so I'll do my favorite load, which is that's not my sheet. That's
Heavy.
Circle Flames. Get out of here. Light.
Going in packing. And Rama, I know this is your first Blades in the Dark game, but
Yeah.
So on your character sheet, you see where all your items are. At the very top, you'll see load, light, normal, heavy.
Yeah. That's
So
how many items I can carry.
yeah, you don't pick the items beforehand, right? You just say this is the amount of stuff I have on me, and as you need them, you can select the items you carry.
Cool.
The other
Okay.
effect that has is a light load means you're faster, right? And you're less conspicuous. A heavy load means that you're slower and you are covered in guns, weapons, and armor. You look like you're walking the streets about to murder the fuck out of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Fucking
So,
hot fuzz right there.
I
yeah,
want to go heavy now.
pair of shotguns, right? Yeah. So that's the like thing to consider there, and just select one of those three. Yeah.
We'll go light then.
Yeah, and I'm also going light.
Cool. That seems to be how everybody's going. And
No, I don't think I've ever chosen anything besides light, even on horrified conditions.
that's Dan. He's not even wearing pants. How can he have a heavy load?
That's extra light.
Yeah, and I think we've already got the detail. So every plan just has like, what it does and then the detail. And the detail is a social connection, Corbin Gray. So we've got our loadouts, and we can get into the engagement roll. There's a couple of different ways to go about plans. There is, before we do an engagement roll, right, you could do a setup maneuver. You could do a setup maneuver anytime, by the way, but it's something that could happen before the engagement roll. The setup maneuver is to set somebody else up to do something good, right? So if Curio wants to steal, a lightning suit, right, an electroplasmic power armor from the Railjacks, but it's in a locker, right? And he doesn't have rec. He's not good at that. He's not going to do very good at this. He has limited effect. If somebody else has like a big sledgehammer, right, you could set him up by like busting the thing apart. Then when he rolls to steal it, he gets out. That's maybe a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. And then there's also teamwork, where anytime somebody's taking an action, everybody can roll on that action to lead a teamwork, right? You all roll to bust open the cage. And one person is leading it, but they take the best roll out of all of you. And it can improve your position. It can improve your, get you better effect level, basically. And then there's another one called diversion, which is, so anyway, the teamwork and the setup, that's kind of part of the same maneuver. The diversion is a setup. It's a different plan, right? It's a little mini plan that you could do before the plan. You could say, you're going to draw away the Railjacks with a diversion, right? So it's easier for the other crew to sneak in. I said all that to say that if you had a setup in mind or something like that, you could go through that. Otherwise, we can jump straight to the situation and deal with it.
Well, since it's purely social in nature, I don't think.
Maybe we can find out something about Corbin that would give us a leg up on him.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do I want to study and actually look up and ask around about this Corbin guy.
Okay, so that's kind of like that's gather information for sure. And you want to figure out some stuff about Corbin. Are you contacting somebody about that?
I have a friend who is a master architect.
That sounds like pretty much the contact you want.
Uh-huh.
So he probably knows of Corbin. Where do you meet this guy? And just to say, a reasonable place could be at the academy where they train architects. In Charter Hall University. That's a pretty upscale part of town. But you could meet them there or meet them somewhere, have them come to you, something like that.
We'd like to go out to a certain bar, have a few drinks.
Okay.
Me and him are buds.
Is that here in Six Towers or is it in Charter Hall? Charter Hall is kind of like just across the road from Six Towers.
Yeah, it's more in Charter Hall. He doesn't like to venture too close to 6 Towers.
Okay. And he's a master architect. Now, does he teach at the school? Or is he like a just a consultant, something like that?
Yeah, he's trying to start his own consulting firm.
Okay. Yeah. Let's have you, we can have you do a gather information to kind of set us up for this, give us some better effect. So you're at a bar nearby Charter Hall. And is this during the workday? Is this after the workday?
Oh, this is so in the afternoon after a long day at work.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty crowded after that. Since it's in Charter Hall, it's not, wild nonsense. They have the maximum amount of wealth and security in Charter Hall. It's pretty much the exact opposite of Six Towers. And so this is a kind of a fine establishment you're in, right? You've got a couple of little crystalline glasses full of what do you drink, Dan?
Oh. Gin.
So you've got a little tumbler or whatever of gin. And yeah, this guy's drinking something out of it's a little bitty glass, and he's just sipping it, some kind of brown liquid. He has refined tastes. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty busy. It's there's a lot of hushed or private conversations going on around you. Now, Curio and Jean, are either of you here? Are you sitting in the background? Are you watching your boys back, or are you guys back at home just waiting for him to report?
No, I mean, this sounds like my kind of place.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be here. I don't know if I'm so much watching his back. Maybe that was the plan, but then I saw these handsome dudes and dudettes, and I'm just sort of chilling and shooting the shit with them.
Okay, so you're completely off target.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Curio?
I think a crowded, rich place is a great thing for me
Sure.
as a thief, right?
So
Yeah, I think I would go there.
okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right. So first, we're gonna roll our engagement. So the engagement roll is a fortune roll. You start with 1 dice for sheer luck. You modify the dice pool for any advantages or disadvantages that apply. So, is this operation particularly bold or daring?
I wouldn't say so.
No, it's pretty straightforward. Is it overly complex or contingent on many factors?
I mean, no.
No.
Trusting Dan, but that's about it.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of in the middle, so nothing really. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest?
The target would be Corbin, and this is getting info on him, so yes.
Yeah, it's explicitly about doing that, right? Is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses or special preparations? I don't think so. I mean, he's not your enemy, right? So he's not particularly prepared against screwing you over for a deal that will also benefit him, probably. So no.
Yeah, and it's not like he's an underground mastermind that has
Right.
something to hide.
Yeah. Well, he's sort of a mastermind, but yeah, not underground. Can any of your friends or contacts provide you insight to the operation? This is what we're rolling, right? So we're finding this out. This is the part that our setup is working on. And are there any other elements that you want to consider? Maybe a lower tier target will give you +1 dice, or a higher tier target will give you -1 dice. The Foundation is higher tier, but I'm not sure that matters. Because you're kind of dealing with individuals. So right now you guys have 2 dice. And this setup plan, this setup maneuver by Dan, might give us a third. But you're sitting there talking with, what's that person's name again? Your contact?
August.
August, yeah. Have you told, I mean, you haven't told him while you're here, like, hey, we need dirt on Corbin so we can fuck him over. Have you told him you're coming here to talk with him about Corbin?
I talked about plans for some architecture thing underground, and I need to know a guy. And he said he might know a guy, and I said, "Oh, let's meet up." And
okay, so he's just got done telling you a really long, boring work story, right? It's something about like I don't know. It might be interesting to you. It's like somebody wrote a paper, right? But they incorrectly cited a source on this treatise about architecture, and it's caused a whole kerfuffle. They're being investigated, but it was clearly just a typo. It's like 1 or 2 letters were off, right? And it made it look like something completely different. And there's this whole thing, and he's like, I think people just want something fucking to do, because they don't have any, because they're not doing anything important. That's for goddamn sure. And he tells you this long rambling thing about, you know, gee, work was hard. But I think he catches himself and he says, I'm probably boring you.
No, man. Typos, they get you in deep shit. I got 6 extra months because of one typo.
Right, yeah. Where does this fucking person know you from? How do you know a master architect?
We went to school together.
You went to the boarding house together.
Yeah.
So he used to be in trouble?
Well, his parents are strict, but we just threw him in a strict school to start with, and he just went down the strict line, and it helped him out. Okay. Whereas I got put in a boarding school for punishment.
Okay, yeah. He says, right, yeah, sure. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you wanted to ask about something? Plans? What are you getting up to?
All right. So me and a buddy, we want to create a crib, but it's got to be underground, and we need to know a guy that can tell us about some underground sites near 6 Towers, more towards the Lost District over there, more towards Brightstone. I think it's the guy, Corbin Gray. Do you know anything about him? Might he be able to help? Do you know anything?
You want to talk to Corbin fucking Gray?
Oh, is he someone big?
He's like, yeah, he's big. He's like a boss. Okay. You want to talk to Corbin Gray? You want me to set up a meeting with him, or?
I mean, you don't have to do that, but like, holy crap, is he some kind of big guy? What can you tell me, man? Like, what does he run?
Okay, so
I'm just milking info out of him at this point.
Yeah, what are you rolling? What's your action here? So
it's either consort or sway.
Could go either way. I think it sounds more like consort to me, but it could be sway if you're trying to get him to.
I mean, I have more points than consort, so.
I mean, yeah, it's whatever action is most appropriate, right? So.
I'm playing off being a dumbass here, and he thinks I'm an idiot because I've been dropping out of school.
Yeah, that's the part where it might be sway. But so Rama, in Blades in the Dark, I don't tell you what you're rolling. You tell me. You don't be a weasel about that, right? And just be like, yeah, I'm totally wrecking this guy. Okay. I mean, Eric is the one person who had to say it's probably not that when he was trying to consort with a rifle in a sniper's duel.
Because I I misremembered what consort said, and I just refused to just look up what the fuck it said, and I just kept repeating consort.
Sure, yeah. I think he was trying to command the guy by intimidating him, but anyway. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was like, I'm shit at shooting, so I'm just trying to scare him. But anyway, the point is, so consort is with connections from your heritage, background, friends, or rivals to gain access to resources, information, people, or places. So this is literally what he's doing, right? Swaying, though, is swaying someone with charm, deception, disguise, or bluff. Change attitudes or behavior with manipulation or seduction. And he is doing this seductive dance of playing like an idiot with this guy. This is my seductive dance. And so I'm going to give you options here, Eric. You can roll either one. I don't tell you what action you're rolling, but I do set your effect level. So you can roll consort, and I think that's risky standard. I think that's controlled standard. Like, it's pretty straight up, right? He doesn't. Again, you're not actually trying to do anything nefarious with him, so. But if you're trying to get him to, like, he's in gossip mode, right? If you're trying to get him to spill something maybe he shouldn't, that's probably a sway. And if you wanted to sway him, that would be risky.
This is Blades in the Dark. Fuck yes, I'll sway.
It'd be risky and limited. So he'll give you something he's not supposed to if you hit it, but he won't give you a lot. He'll be like, I probably said too much. Yeah, you can kind of choose which of those effects you want to go for. It sounds like you're going with sway.
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 So to roll the action, you roll your sway, but we have two options. Somebody could give you assistance. It seems like Curio's not here or nearby. And Jean is nearby but distracted. But that's not the only way you can give assistance. You can also do a flashback, right? You can say, like, oh, I set something up for him, or I handed him some document. Now, we could get really deep into the flashback, gather information territory, where it's like, well, I gathered information about this guy before Eric showed, but...
Fucking Ocean 11's right here.
Yeah. We do 9 sessions of constant flashbacking into one single roll about, hey, what do you know about Corbin Gray?
And then you failed it.
How do you roll 5 ones?
So that's the first thing. You would mark stress to do a flashback, and then you'd mark stress to assist, if you're going to do that. But the other option that Prison Dan has is he can push himself. If he marks 2 stress, he can just have an extra die for, doing something sort of risky. He's pushing the limits. Or he can have a devil's bargain. Devil's bargain is something I offer you. Anybody can offer it. Anybody can come up with a devil's bargain, right, and put it on the table. And if he accepts the devil's bargain, this is a bad thing, right? It's giving him an extra dice for this thing, but something else bad happens. Examples are like, oh, you get shot and hurt, right? Or there's heat for the crew. Or you have to give up something, like a precious item, coins. Or you have to betray a friend, right?
Or like his business isn't doing so well, so he wants in on whatever the hell we're trying to do.
Right.
For a share, of course.
So betray a friend, I'm tempted by, but that would probably come out of a different role if you let out that you got information from him that he wasn't supposed to give you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start light. I'll offer you a devil's bargain for heat. There's heat. You're out looking for stuff. You're asking about the Foundation. You're asking about, lightning barriers and stuff. Word is out that the Circle of Flame is moving. If you want to add heat to the crew.
Sure. Dan likes things a little hot and toasty. Dan likes the attention.
Heat is my favorite. Heat is how I end up putting people in jail. Prison Dan loves going to jail. He loves...
Who else have you put in jail?
It's a good point. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Fair point. Nobody ever.
Went to jail 3 times.
You went to jail a lot, my friend.
I don't know. How much stress is it to do a flashback and then to aid? Like, is it 1-1 or is it?
To aid, it's always 1 dice. To do a flashback, it's between 0 and 3.
Gotcha.
I figure it depends on how convoluted you make the flashback, basically.
Sure. Yeah, I don't.
Do it, fucking you creepy bastard. Do it.
Well, so you're trying to get information out of this guy, like that he probably shouldn't tell you. Is that like the thing here? Man.
I'm just saying, if you have a ghost come up and manipulate this guy, it's a pretty good explanation for why you're like, yeah, fuck this, I've got this already taken care of. I'm just gonna hang out with these hot dudes.
Okay, actually, yeah. All right, no, thank you. Honestly, thank you. Because I wanted to help, but I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the first place my fucking mind went to.
Yeah, no, I forget that I have these powers sometimes. Because last time I played a Whisper, I had Ritual, and I couldn't do shit. Sure, yeah. Then yeah, this guy, I guess I've already possessed this man.
So you contacted some spirit to show up and like possess this guy and like weaken his inhibitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Who was this spirit? What was this spirit?
Yeah. Okay. So this spirit, he was killed in prison. He was a snitch.
God damn it.
And yeah, he was when his gang found out, they murdered his dumb ass. So he's a snitch ghost. What's his name? His name will be Clyde. His name is Clyde.
Clyde.
Yeah.
Do you want to add him to your contact list?
I certainly do.
That seems like a good addition to contact list. Clyde the ghost snitch.
Okay, so is context different from strange friends?
No, it's the same thing.
Okay. Add Clyde. Okay, let me get rid of that. Clyde. Snitch ghost.
Oh, golly,
Yeah.
jeez.
I contact Clyde quite a bit. Yeah, oh man, this is perfect. Yeah, naming all my ghost friends.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I mean, I know you want to aid.
I can roll my move instead if you'd rather do that or whatever.
I think it's better. I think it's better doing this as a setup and giving Dan better effect.
Sure.
Because yeah, so you've contacted this ghost to pretty much possess this guy and get him to do what he wants, to snitch, right?
Yeah.
Sort of. This is Clyde's specialité.
Yeah, Clyde's fun. Clyde hangs out in he likes parks actually. I visit him in parks and I give him fruits, and that's how I attract him to me, and it's like, okay, cool.
He can only ever meet you at a pair of benches that face away from each other, and you have to sit on one side and he sits on the other.
Yeah. Then I give him an orange, and he's like, all right, cool. Now talk.
Okay. Yeah. Mark 1 stress,
All right.
just to have done this in the past.
Boom.
And yeah, I guess what are you rolling there?
So I guess like, well, do I have to compel or is this something else?
I'm sorry, it does say attune.
Yeah.
But he is on your contact list, so
Sure. Yeah.
It could be command or consort, right? I'd be happy
Sure.
with that.
Yeah, because compel is like, yo, bitch, do what I say. It's
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, and you know what? He's a friend of mine. He possesses people sometimes for me, and comes to my sex parties.
Yeah.
So I'll consort with him, sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the attuned version is like, I don't have a ghost prepared. I just pull one out now. Right?
Yeah.
That's definitely attuning. But you can consort, and what's your effect? You're going to get an extra dice, straight up, just because he's a friend. He's your contact.
Okay. So do I just click this up arrow, or is he just like leaving
No.
an arrow?
No, he's not your best friend.
Neat. Okay.
And it's risky because he's a ghost. But I think you have standard effect. You're on good ground. This is risky standard. It's pretty standard to roll. So what you want to do is click your consort, the word, right?
Yeah.
And give yourself a modifier plus 1 dice, an extra dice.
All right. So it's risky, right?
Risky standard, yeah.
Risky standard.
Keep your eye on that roll log, Dennis. It's about to get beautiful.
All right. So let me just make sure. So hold on. So right now I'm rolling A dice. Okay.
Yeah, make sure you give yourself an extra.
Oh yeah, the bonus.
Yeah, your bonus.
Okay, that's fine. All right, then I'm happy with that. All right. Oh my God,
Look at that
it's a
roll.
bad roll. It's a very bad roll,
Look at
but
that.
it's very pretty.
Look how beautiful
It
the
looks
thing
good.
is.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm gonna give Dan the extra effect. It happens.
Cool.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't take harm. There's nothing bad like that happens. Except, Dan, you were rolling risky limited. Now you're rolling desperate. You're rolling desperate standard. Basically, this is another thing you can always do. If you want increased effect, you can push up to the next threat level, right? If you are at, controlled threat but limited effect, you can push up to the next highest one. Risky standard. Then you could push up to desperate but great effect. So that's what we're doing to Dan. He's going to push up to the next step. He's doing desperate, but now that there's a ghost inside of him making him tell things, you're going to be at standard effect. He's going to give you a little extra than he would have before.
All right.
There you go.
Now, how do I do this cool ass fucking roll here?
All right, so the word consort, if you click that,
All right.
and then it's going to ask you for a position, you're going to put desperate.
Appear behind. Desperate.
And your effect.
Standard.
Yeah. And you have 1 bonus dice for that devil's bargain.
All right.
And roll it up. Hey,
There's
got a
a
6. There it is.
Fuck yeah.
We're good.
It's so crazy. Like I didn't know we could do like fucking gifs in the roll. Like.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing we need to remember, Dan, you just did a desperate roll. So click on your advancement for resolve.
You're welcome.
Bam. Yeah, so he spills the beans, right? He's like, what the fuck do you mean you don't know? And his eyes sort of shudder back in his head, and he fucking shivers for a second. And I think the air around you, Dan, gets really cold.
Your hair stands up a little bit.
Yeah. And, and there's like a sort of a... there's a condensation that gathers on your glasses, right? Your drinks. And maybe you have ice in yours, right? So there's a little condensation anyway, but his doesn't. His is a lukewarm thing, but there's like condensation, right? And if you drink any more of it, right, while you're sitting there talking to him, it tastes salty. The water, it's condensation on the side. There's a saltiness to it.
Just the way I like it.
And
No.
and like I said, his eyes sort of glaze over. And he like, Corbin. He's one of the charges of the Foundation. There are 3 charges. They're the leaders. He's like Hicks Regium, Kara Hintower, and Corbin Gray. He works in Coleridge with the shipping at Gaddock Station. He's a bit mercurial, but he likes fine things. He has sophisticated tastes. He's a sucker for a night out or a fine gift. And there are rumors. They're not fucking rumors, they're true. He is, okay, yeah. When he was young, he has a wife now, but he had one before her. She died. He keeps a pocket mirror. And he like taps on his no, he doesn't keep it in his pocket. He like taps on his vest, right? He keeps a pocket mirror. And her spirit resides in it. He can open it and look at her. She's inside of it. Yeah, and he like coughs really loud, and he coughs like 4 or 5 times really hard, and like he's almost choking, and at the very end of it he's like trying to cough, but there's no more oxygen, right? And like this string of liquid just like pours out of his mouth and lands on the ground. As he's like coughing, and the liquid like pours out and hits the ground and like burns for a second and turns to vapor. Jean, you hear like a whispering sound. Wind brushes through this place. It doesn't blow everything over, but there's a draft that suddenly like shoots through this this little pub. And everybody like gets a shiver for a second except you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone shivers and just can I get another, please?
Yeah, and once he's done like coughing, and he like stops for a second, and he's like, "Oh, I feel kind of sick. I hope that helps. You know, let me know. I gotta go. I feel bad. Yeah, you know, just drop me a line."
Oh, sure, man, sure.
he gets up from the table and is like, "Oh God," and he just like wanders out. So that's the first thing he gave you, right? Was about the spirit in his pocket, in his pocket mirror. The second thing he gives you is that he forgets his bag.
Oh boy.
He totally leaves his satchel behind. And you can totally take that, right? And be like a couple days later, "Hey, by the way, you left your bag and I found it," and yada yada yada. Or whatever you want to fucking do with it. But he wanders out, and yeah, his eyes were fucked. Like he's probably not going to remember what happened in the last few minutes. But
All right.
that's extra information. It probably doesn't have specifically anything to do with Corbin Gray, but it's just extra that you can
Hell yeah.
write that down in your notes. Actually, let's call that something. So you
Isn't
can
that
add items to your list if you want to put find foundation documents.
Yeah.
So he's working as like a consultant, right? He's trying to become hired as a private consultant. So he's gathering a lot of information about the school, and he has access to a lot of information about the foundation and their work at Charter Hall and all that. And he just left that.
This one doesn't have typos.
Right, no typos. Yeah, August is a meticulous person, except of course when he's possessed by the spirit of a snitch. So you guys definitely have special information. Now, we have different information also. So, I don't know if you guys want to kind of change the plan, or if you want to go ahead with it as it is.
Well,
All right, Dennis, you're up. This is your.
yeah. I guess it's an occult plan.
So it's an occult
maybe?
plan now.
Because
He's also
like,
a sucker for finery, and you're just the fucking.
he's a sucker for finery, and I'm a very fine man with a very fine body, but he keeps his old wife's spirit in a mirror in his pocket. That leads me to believe that he maybe cares about her a little bit more than his current wife.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I might be able to. I don't know. I don't know if I could do anything about that. Actually, maybe not. I don't have.
I don't know
ritual.
if
I don't know. Because I would like. what I would do, if I had ultimate power, I would try to get this ghost in the mirror to possess his current wife. Because then that's where I would go with it.
But how do we use that?
Just tell him about it. It's like, hey, yo, I know about your dumb mirror.
So it seems like an occult plan just to do that, right?
Right. I just don't know how I would do that.
Well,
I have compel. I mean, could I use compel to like tear the spirit out of that mirror?
I think
Like-
you could attune to pull the spirit out of the mirror.
Oh, right, attune. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, okay. I don't need a specific move.
You have a pretty talented thief who could probably steal that mirror from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we have to steal it.
Well, you need the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point in like putting his wife's soul in another thing's body if he doesn't fucking know about it.
Right. So to do it without his permission beforehand, you'd need to take the mirror from him because he wears it all the time.
Yeah, I'm not saying do it without his permission though.
Okay. Yeah. So then it seems like it's probably actually a social plan to ask him about it.
Okay, then that's fine.
Okay. Cool. So this is at Gaddick Rail Station, but let's take another break real quick and reset and move on to the actual plan. All right.
All right.